This Revit model for 560 Harrison Avenue is a work in progress, so I'm using the same drawing that we made in Photoshop to sort of examine the facade, and I'm looking at a view that's orthogonal to Harrison Avenue. And here are the curtain walls set as exterior panels, so we need to divide them up. Remember, we said there are 4 in this first one, 5 in the next one, so these are embedded in the outer wall. So I'm going to make this wider. I think we said about 18 feet for the middle bays. So this is a little easier to do in Revit architecture than SketchUp. These are set a little unevenly. What do we say the other side was? Let's open up SketchUp and see. It's actually not a bad idea to have both models to be working on both models at the same time. There are things that you can do in SketchUp that you can't do in Revit, and vice versa. Some people argue that there is nothing you can't do in either one or the other. I have preferences, but anyway. So we're leaving about 18 feet for the middle bays and 16 for the outer bays. I can live with that. Let's see what this ends up being. Oh, whenever you array something like this, which I did to create the series of 4 curtain walls, you need to ungroup that array. So that this little, I already ungrouped that one. So let's make this 16 wide. I could type that, right? That would just simply do it. This is a listening dimension, right? Or setting dimension. So this one needs to be divided into 5 panels. Architecture, curtain grid. I'm going to set another vertical one here, and then just move these. Remove constraints. There's probably some alignment constraints. I'm going to remove these mullions because they're of no use to me right now. For that matter, nor is the vertical one. Let's look at the photograph again. We have a horizontal mullion here, and in the next bay, that horizontal mullion, see it in the corner? It begins up there. I went into the restaurant and measured the elevations of the ceiling, so the ceiling as you enter the gaslight is lower than the one underneath that middle bay. So the horizontal mullion is going to act as a spandrel covering the floor structure. You can actually see the office above through it. So what will we do here? Let's remove the lower one. I think we can do that. Ooh, what did I delete? Yeah. Remove that grid line. Okay. And then the upper remains. Here I have upper and lower. So here I'll remove the upper. Oh, we have something pinned. I think it does that when you turn a grid line into a mullion. So this is some arbitrary mullion that I applied. This needs to be 5 equal panels. So I'm just going to do that with a fixing dimension. And set that to equal. And so that they're about 3/7 each. We can do that with all of these. Let's look at the facade, a photograph of the facade, and see if that agrees with what we're looking at. I'm going to save a copy of today's date. That warning happens whenever you use numbers at the end of the file. I'm going to ignore it. Let's go back to desktop. Just forgot my default image handler, so I have to start. I have to load. Adobe Bridge. Hopefully Bridge has a memory of what we were browsing. I think it does. Yeah, it appears some of these images are here. So. That's a pretty good one. It has almost all of the bays, including the elevation of the air. Can I open it with Photoshop? Yeah. I don't want these to get more than 10 minutes long, so. We think we've asked Photoshop to open this file. No, I haven't. Hell with it. Let me just look at it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that you'll notice the middle mullion is not quite centered with the windows above. It's to the right of the middle window. In this case, because these are each narrower, it occurs to the left of the middle window. So you have this sort of interesting irregularity going on, and now Photoshop has decided to open. You have this interesting independence, if you will, of this ground floor level from the rest of this formal structure. I find that interesting. Maybe an architect finds that interesting, but not an interior designer. But I think that the idea that a response to the space that formally this yields in interiors could be interesting. We'll stop there. 11 minutes is long enough.